The 5-year-old boy's small hand slammed against Garrett Sullivan's chest. "You don't get to see our mommy." Garrett staggered back, his $2,000 suit suddenly feeling like a costume. Behind his son Carter, Kennedy stood with her arms crossed, her face a mirror of the woman lying unconscious in the hospital bed behind them. "Kennedy, Carter, please. I just need to." "No." Kennedy's voice cracked. "You left us. You don't get to come back because mommy's sick." The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Through the window, Garrett could see Immani's still form, tubes running from her arms, monitors beeping steadily. His ex-wife. The woman he'd abandoned 5 years ago because his mother said she wasn't good enough. A nurse approached cautiously. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step back. They're my children." "Are they?" Carter's eyes filled with tears. "Because daddies don't disappear." The words hit harder than any boardroom rejection ever had. Garrett's phone buzzed. His mother. He silenced it. What happened to her? His voice broke. "Heart attack," Kennedy whispered, and suddenly she wasn't a fierce guardian anymore, just a terrified little girl. "The doctors say it's from stress. From working too hard. From doing everything alone. Because of me," Garrett thought. The weight of it crushed his chest. A woman pushed past him, her dark braids swinging. Rose. Immani's best friend. She gathered both children into her arms and fixed Garrett with a look that could cut glass. "You need to leave. Rose, please. You don't get to do this. You don't get to show up after 5 years and think that erases anything." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a lethal whisper. "You broke her. You chose your racist mother over your family. And now you want back in because guilt finally caught up to you? I made mistakes." "Mistakes?" Rose laughed bitterly. "You destroyed her. Do you know what she went through? Raising twins alone, working 2 jobs, going back to school, all while your family's lawyers tried to prove she was an unfit mother so they could take the kids?" Garrett's blood ran cold. "What? Oh, you didn't know? 3 years ago, your mother tried to get custody. Said Immani was neglectful. They had private investigators following her, photographing her bringing the kids to daycare at 6 in the morning, picking them up at 7 at night. Called it abandonment." Rose's voice shook with rage. "A judge laughed them out of court. But it cost Immani $20,000 in legal fees she didn't have. So she worked harder. Slept less. And now she's in there." The floor tilted beneath Garrett's feet. His mother had done this. He'd been so buried in work and avoiding his own guilt that he hadn't known. "I didn't." "You never do." Rose ushered the twins toward the elevator. "Come on, babies. Let's get some food." Kennedy looked back once, and the disappointment in her eyes aged her a decade. Then they were gone, and Garrett was alone in the sterile hallway, staring at the woman he'd loved and left through a pane of glass. His phone buzzed again. His mother. This time, he answered. "Mother. Garrett, I heard about your situation. I want you to know that we're here for you during this difficult. Did you try to take my children?" Silence. Then, carefully, "We were concerned about their welfare. You tried to take them from their mother. The mother you drove away. That woman manipulated you. Her name is Immani." His voice echoed in the empty hallway. "And you don't get to call her anything else. You don't get to speak about her. You don't get to speak to me. Garrett Sullivan, I am your..." He hung up. His hands were shaking. Through the window, a doctor was checking Immani's vitals. She looked so small in that bed. So fragile. Nothing like the fierce, brilliant woman who'd called him out on his privilege during their first date. Nothing like the woman who'd laughed at his terrible jokes and believed he could be better than his last name. She'd been right to leave. He'd chosen comfort over courage. Status over love. His mother's approval over his own family. A text came through. His sister Lauren. Dad told me what Mom did. I'm so sorry. I should have told you. Everyone had known. Everyone except him, because he'd been too cowardly to face what he'd destroyed. Garrett sank into a plastic chair outside Immani's room. He would wait. He would wait as long as it took. Because for once in his privileged, comfortable life, he was going to do something hard. He was going to earn his way back. The next morning, Immani woke to the soft beeping of monitors and the weight of exhaustion in every bone. Rose was asleep in the chair beside her bed, still holding her hand. Beyond her, through the window in the door, she could see him. Garrett. Still there. Still waiting. Their eyes met, and she saw something she'd never seen before. Not guilt. Not pity. Desperation. Raw and honest and terrifying. She closed her eyes and turned away. 2 days later, they discharged her. Rose drove her home to the modest apartment she'd turned into a sanctuary. The twins rushed to her, careful of her bruised arms and the bandages. Mommy, are you okay? I'm okay, baby. She kissed Kennedy's forehead, then Carter's. I'm so okay. But she wasn't. The doctors had been clear. Stress-induced cardiomyopathy. Change your lifestyle or risk another attack. Rest. Delegate. Ask for help. She'd built her entire life on never asking for help. That night, after the twins were asleep, she found the letters. 23 of them. Rose had been collecting them, she realized. Every week for the past 6 months, Garrett had written to her. Immani opened the first one with shaking hands. The letter detailed his therapy sessions, the books he was reading about race and privilege, the volunteer work he'd started in their neighborhood. Each one was more honest than the last, stripping away the polished CEO to reveal someone desperately trying to understand what he'd destroyed. She opened another. Then another. By the third letter, her hands were shaking harder. I saw Carter today. Not up close. I was volunteering at the after-school program, and he was there with his art class. He's so talented. He painted a sunset that looked like the one we watched on our honeymoon. I wanted to tell him I remember. But I don't have that right anymore. Immani's tears fell onto the paper, smudging the ink. Don't, she whispered to herself. Don't you dare fall for this. But her heart, that traitorous organ that had nearly given out from carrying everything alone, whispered back, what if he means it? Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Immani. His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. I know you just got home. I know you need rest. But I need you to know something. I'm not going away. I'm not asking to see you or the kids. I'm just telling you that I'm here. I'm getting better. And when you're ready, if you're ever ready, I want to be the father they deserve. The husband you deserved. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to let me prove I've changed. She should hang up. She should block his number. She should protect herself. Why now? Her voice cracked. Why after 5 years? Because I saw a picture. You receiving that award at work, with Kennedy and Carter beside you. And I realized I'd missed everything. Your graduation. Your promotions. Their first days of school. Their first lost teeth. Everything. And I couldn't breathe. I haven't been able to breathe since. Good. The word came out harsh. Now you know how I felt every day for 5 years. I know. I know, and I'm so. Don't apologize. I don't want apologies. Apologies are easy. Apologies are what you give when you accidentally bump into someone, not when you systematically destroy their life. Silence. Then, quietly, you're right. So tell me what you want. I want you to have felt what I felt. I want you to have worked 2 jobs while finishing a degree. I want you to have held crying babies alone at 3 in the morning. I want you to have chosen between groceries and rent. I want you to have faced your family's lawyers alone. I want you, her voice broke. I want you to have earned the right to even speak to them. Then tell me how. You can't. That's the point. You can't undo 5 years. You can't give back what you took. But I can try. Every day for the rest of my life, I can try. Immani closed her eyes. I have to go. Wait. Just one more thing. I confronted my mother. I told her she doesn't get to speak about you. She's cut me off. The inheritance, the company, all of it. And I don't care. Because you were right. About everything. And I'd rather lose all of it than lose one more day proving I've changed. He hung up before she could respond. Immani sat in her dark kitchen, surrounded by letters from a man who'd destroyed her, and felt the dangerous flutter of hope. No, she told herself firmly. Absolutely not. But that night, she slept with his letters on her nightstand. 3 weeks later, Immani made the call that would change everything. We need to talk. In person. They met at the park where he'd proposed 8 years ago. Garrett arrived first, pacing near the fountain. When he saw her, his whole body tensed with hope and fear. She looked good. Tired, but strong. Her hair was natural now, and the thick coils she'd always loved but his mother had criticized. She wore jeans and a sweater, and she'd never been more beautiful. Thank you for coming, he said carefully. Don't thank me. This isn't a reconciliation. This is me telling you the terms. He nodded. Whatever you want. The twins have questions. Kennedy asked me yesterday why her friend Emma has a daddy who comes to school events and she doesn't. I told her you were busy. She said, busy for 5 years? And I didn't have an answer. Immani's voice shook. I'm done lying to protect your feelings. Good. Don't protect me. Tell them the truth. The truth is that their father chose his mother's approval over them. That he was too weak to stand up for his family. Is that what you want me to say? Yes. His voice was raw. Tell them exactly that. And tell them I'm sorry. And tell them I'm working every day to become someone worthy of a second chance. Immani steadied him. He'd lost weight. There were shadows under his eyes. This wasn't the polished CEO she'd married. This was someone who'd been broken and was trying to put himself back together. Here are my terms, she said. You can see them. Supervised visits. 1 hour every Saturday at the park. Rose will be present. You will not bring gifts. You will not try to buy their affection. You will show up on time, every time, and if you miss even once, this is over. Done. You will continue therapy. I'll need verification from your therapist every month. Done. You will not speak to me about us. This is about them. Only them. His face fell, but he nodded. Done. And Garrett? She stepped closer, and he could smell her perfume, the one that used to cling to his clothes. If you hurt them, if you disappoint them, if you prove that this is just guilt and not genuine change, I will make sure you never see them again. Do you understand? I understand. And Immani? I won't. I swear on everything I am, I won't. She didn't smile. Didn't soften. Just nodded once and walked away. Garrett watched her go and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. That Saturday, Garrett arrived at the park 40 minutes early. He'd barely slept. He'd changed clothes 3 times. He'd rehearsed what to say and then thrown it all away because his children deserved honesty, not speeches. Rose arrived with Kennedy and Carter at exactly 11. The twins saw him and stopped walking. Go on, Rose said gently. He's not going anywhere. They approached slowly, like he was a strange dog that might bite. Garrett lowered himself to their level, kneeling in the grass. "Hi," he said, and his voice cracked. "Hi," Kennedy said cautiously. Carter said nothing. "I know you don't know me. And I know that's my fault. But I'd really like to know you, if you'll let me." "Why should we?" Carter's voice was small but fierce. "You left us." "You're right. I did. And there's no excuse for that. I was scared and weak, and I made the worst choice I could have made." "Were we bad?" Kennedy's question nearly destroyed him. "No. God, no. You were perfect. You are perfect. I was the problem. Not you. Never you. Then why?" Carter's eyes filled with tears. "Why didn't you want us?" Garrett's own tears fell freely. "I did want you. I do want you. But I let people who didn't deserve a say in my life tell me what was important. And I chose wrong. I chose money and status over love. Over you. And I'll regret that every day for the rest of my life." Kennedy studied him with those two old eyes. "Mommy says people can change if they work hard enough. Your mom is the smartest person I've ever met. She also says actions matter more than words. She's right about that too." Carter moved closer, just slightly. "Do you even know our favorite colors?" Garrett's heart clenched. "No. But I want to learn. I want to learn everything about you." "Mine's purple," Kennedy offered carefully. "Carter's is orange." "Purple and orange." "Got it." He smiled through his tears. "What else should I know?" "I like science." Kennedy wants to be an astronaut. Carter likes art. He's really good at painting. They were talking now, over each other, the words tumbling out like they'd been stored up for years. "I won first place at the science fair. I painted a mural at school. I can read chapter books. I can do multiplication." Garrett listened to every word, memorizing it, cataloging it, filing it away in the space in his heart that had been empty for 5 years. "Can I ask you something?" he said carefully. They nodded. "Would it be okay if I came back next week? Same time, same place?" Kennedy and Carter looked at each other, having some silent twin conversation. Then Kennedy nodded. "Okay. But you have to promise." "I promise." "Wild horses couldn't keep me away." "What about tame horses?" Carter asked, and it was such a perfect, ridiculous question that Garrett laughed. "Not even tame horses. They stayed for the full hour. Played on the swings. Drew pictures in the dirt." Kennedy explained her science project about photosynthesis. Carter showed him photos of his paintings on Rose's phone. When it was time to go, Carter hugged him quickly, almost accidentally, then ran to Rose looking embarrassed. Kennedy held back. "You'll really come back?" "Every Saturday." "I promise." "Okay." She paused. "I remember you, a little bit. From before." Garrett's throat closed. "Yeah? You used to sing to us. At bedtime. Really badly." He laughed through tears. "I did. I still do that badly. Maybe you could sing to us again sometime. I'd love that more than anything." She nodded and ran to join Carter. Rose approached, her expression still guarded. "One down. Thank you. For bringing them. For giving me this chance. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for Immani. She needs to not carry this alone anymore." "But Garrett, if you mess this up, you'll have to go through me." "Understood." She started to leave, then turned back. "They asked about you every day for the first year. After that, they stopped asking. Don't make them stop trusting people again." The weight of that responsibility settled on his shoulders, and for the first time in his life, Garrett welcomed it. The weeks turned into months. Every Saturday, rain or shine, Garrett showed up. He learned Kennedy's favorite constellation. Carter's favorite painter. He attended Kennedy's soccer games and Carter's art shows, sitting in the back, not approaching Immani, just being present. He sent weekly updates to Dr. Chen. Continued reading. Joined a support group for parents rebuilding relationships. Started volunteering full-time at the after-school program. His mother called repeatedly. He never answered. His father reached out, cautiously. They met for coffee, and his father admitted he'd never approved of barbarous tactics. "I'm divorcing your mother," he said quietly. "I should have done it years ago." Garrett wasn't sure how to feel about that. But the twins were warming to him. Carter brought him paintings. Kennedy shared her telescope with him. They started to smile when they saw him coming. And Immani watched. From a distance, she watched him show up. Watched him be patient. Watched him earn it. 4 months in, Garrett arrived to find Immani waiting with the twins. Rose wasn't there. "Rose has the flu," Immani said, her voice neutral. "I'll be supervising today." His heart hammered. Okay. It was torture. Being near her, breathing the same air, watching her laugh at Carter's jokes, explaining Kennedy's science homework. Seeing the life he'd walked away from. At the end of the hour, the twins ran ahead to the car, arguing about something, and Garrett and Immani were alone. "You've been consistent," she said, not looking at him. "I'll always be consistent now. I promise." "Don't make promises you can't keep." "I'm not." "Immani, I know I don't have the right to ask, but—" "You're right. You don't." She finally looked at him, and her eyes were wet. "But I'm going to tell you anyway. They love you. They're starting to trust you. And that terrifies me because if you leave again, it will destroy them." "I won't leave. You did before. I was a different person before." "Were you? Or are you just guilty?" The question hung between them, sharp and honest. "Both," he admitted. "I'm guilty as hell. But I'm also different. I've confronted things about myself that I'd spent my whole life avoiding. My privilege. My cowardice. The way I used status to avoid real intimacy. The way I let my mother's racism shape my worldview. I'm not done working on it. I'll never be done. But I'm not the man who left you. I'm not the man who chose his mother's approval over his family. I can't be that man anymore because I've seen what he destroyed." Immani's tears fell freely now. "I want to believe you. Then believe me." "I'm afraid." "I know. I'm afraid too. But Immani, please. Give me more than supervised visits. Let me be part of their lives. Really part of it. I'll follow any rules you set. Any boundaries. Just please don't keep me at arm's length forever." She wiped her eyes. "You want more involvement? Fine. You can do homework duty on Wednesdays. And every other Sunday breakfast. At my place. The kids will be there. I'll be there. And you'll follow my rules and my schedule." It was more than he'd hoped for. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. Just don't screw it up." Wednesday, Garrett showed up at 6:30 with healthy snacks and Kennedy's favorite mechanical pencils. Carter had a diorama due. Kennedy had a math test to study for. Immani watched from the kitchen as Garrett helped Carter build a rainforest scene, as he quizzed Kennedy on fractions, as he made them laugh with his terrible jokes. She watched, and despite every wall she'd built, despite every promise she'd made herself, she felt something shift. Sunday breakfast became routine. Garrett learned to make the twins' favorite pancakes. Started bringing fresh flowers for the table. Started staying to help clean up, to listen to Immani talk about her work, to exist in her space without demanding anything. 6 months after that first park visit, on a rainy Wednesday evening, Garrett stayed late to help Carter finish a project. Kennedy had fallen asleep on the couch. Immani was reading case files at the kitchen table. "Can I ask you something?" Garrett said quietly, not wanting to wake Kennedy. "Depends on the question." What happened to us? Really? I know what I did. But what I don't understand is how I became someone who could do that. Immani set down her papers. You want the truth? Always. You loved me, but you were ashamed of loving me. Not because of who I was, but because of what it said about you. Loving a black woman from a working-class background meant you weren't the man your family wanted you to be. And you cared more about being that man than about being a good man. The words hit like physical blows, but he didn't flinch. You're right. I know I'm right. And the worst part? I let it happen. I made myself smaller. Changed my hair, changed my clothes, tried to fit into your world. Until I realized I was teaching our children to be ashamed of who they were. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't let them grow up thinking they had to earn love by being someone else. You were never the problem. I know that now. But it took me a long time to learn it. I'm sorry doesn't cover it, does it? No. It doesn't. Then what does? She looked at him for a long moment. Time. Consistency. Proof. You're doing the work. That's all you can do. Is it enough? Ask me in a year. But something in her eyes said maybe. And maybe was more than he deserved. The twins' 7th birthday arrived. Garrett asked permission to help plan the party. Immani agreed, cautiously. They co-hosted at a local science center Kennedy loved. Carter got to showcase his paintings. Garrett invited his sister Lauren, who'd been slowly rebuilding her relationship with him. His father came, carefully deferential to Immani. Barbara called that morning. Garrett answered. I want to see my grandchildren. No. Garrett, I'm your mother. You tried to take them. You called Immani an unfit mother. You made our lives hell. And you've never once apologized. Not to her. Not to them. Not even to me. I was protecting you. From what? From happiness? From love? No, mother. You were protecting your image. Your status. And I'm done paying the price for your prejudices. If you do this, you're out of the family. Then I'm out. Because they're my family now. The one I chose. The one I'm fighting to keep. He hung up and didn't look back. At the party, he watched Immani laugh with the other parents, watched his children blow out candles, watched Lauren awkwardly but sincerely try to connect with the twins. And when Kennedy hugged him and said, "Best birthday ever, Daddy," he realized he'd finally started to earn the title. That night, after everyone had left and the twins were asleep, Immani and Garrett sat on her small balcony with coffee. "Thank you for today," she said. "Thank you for letting me be part of it. They love you. Really love you. Not just as someone who shows up, but as their father. I love them more than anything in this world. I know." She paused. "I can see it. The way you look at them. The way you prioritize them. It's different from before. Everything's different from before." She turned to face him, and in the streetlight, she was devastatingly beautiful. "What about me?" His breath caught. "What about you? Do you love me? Or do you love the idea of fixing what you broke?" It was the question he'd been afraid of. The one that mattered most. "I love you," he said carefully. "I never stopped loving you. But I'm not asking you to love me back. I'm not asking for anything except the chance to keep being their father. And if that's all I ever get, it's more than I deserve. What if I told you I'm starting to fall for you again?" His heart stopped. "I'd say you shouldn't. I'd say I've hurt you enough. I'd say you deserve someone who got it right the first time. And if I said I don't want someone who got it right the first time? If I said I want someone who learned, who grew, who fought to become better? Then I'd say you're the bravest person I've ever met." Immani laughed, soft and sad. "I'm not brave. I'm terrified. Because I look at you now, and I see the man I thought you'd be when I married you. But I'm afraid it's temporary. I'm afraid that when things get hard, you'll choose comfort again. I won't. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I've lived without you. And it was hell. And I'm never going back there. She studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she reached out and took his hand. It was the first time she touched him in 5 years, and it felt like coming home. I want to try, she whispered. Slowly. Carefully. But I want to try. Are you sure? No. But I'm doing it anyway. They sat in the dark, holding hands, two broken people choosing to rebuild. It wasn't smooth. There were fights about discipline and boundaries and how to talk to the twins about their complicated history. There were therapy sessions, individual and together, where they peeled back layers of hurt. There were nights when Immani second-guessed everything, when Garrett's old insecurities crept back in. But they kept showing up. Kept being honest. Kept choosing each other, day after difficult day. Garrett proposed the foundation 6 months later. Not a grand gesture, but a partnership. What if we used my resources and your expertise to help kids like Carter and Kennedy? Kids who need advocates? Immani's eyes lit up. A foundation? For underprivileged children. Scholarships, mentorship, legal support. Everything you had to fight for alone, we could provide. We? If you want. As partners. Equals. She smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. Okay. Let's do it. They launched the Harper Sullivan Foundation 9 months later. The twins helped at events, learning about giving back. The work was hard and fulfilling and brought them together in ways Garrett had never imagined. And slowly, so slowly, Immani let him all the way back in. They went on dates. Real ones, where they talked about books and politics and their dreams. They held hands at the twin school events. They kissed goodnight at her door, chaste and full of promise. 1 year and 4 months after that first park meeting, Garrett took Immani to the place where he'd first told her he loved her. A small Ethiopian restaurant in our old neighborhood. I want to ask you something, he said over injera and lentils. Okay. Will you marry me again? She froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. Before you answer, let me be clear. I'm not asking because I want to reclaim something I lost. I'm asking because I want to build something new. With you. As equals. As partners. With total transparency and zero tolerance for anything less than absolute respect. He pulled out a ring, not the massive diamond from before, but a simple band with 3 stones. Purple and orange for the twins. Green for new growth. For us. Immani's eyes filled with tears. Garrett. You can say no. You can say not yet. You can say never. But I'm asking because I'm ready. I'm ready to be the husband you deserve. The father our children deserve. The partner you can trust. Yes. He blinked. Yes? Yes. But we're doing this differently. We're going to couples therapy until we're 90. We're going to have hard conversations. We're going to fight, and we're going to fight fair. And if your family ever, they won't. Because they're not invited. Not invited to what? The wedding. I want Kennedy and Carter there. I want Rose and your mom and the people who actually showed up. I want to marry you in front of people who love you, not people who tolerate you. She laughed through tears. You're serious? Completely. Will you marry me in your mother's church with your best friend as maid of honor and our kids as the entire wedding party? Yes. God help me, yes. He slid the ring on her finger, and it fit perfectly. The wedding was small and perfect. Kennedy beamed as flower girl. Carter, as ring bearer, took his job so seriously he walked at a funeral pace down the aisle. Rose cried through the entire ceremony. Immani's mother blessed them in Amharic. Lauren stood on Garrett's side, the only member of his blood family present. Garrett's vows were simple: I choose you. Every day, in front of everyone, without hesitation. I choose love over fear. Family over status. Truth over comfort. And I will never, ever stop choosing you. Immani's made everyone cry. You broke my heart once. And I'm choosing to give it to you again, rebuilt stronger. I'm choosing to believe in second chances. In growth. In the power of two imperfect people doing hard work together. I choose us. They kissed, and the twins cheered, and rose through rice that she'd smuggled past the church ladies. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was better. It was real. 2 years later, the foundation had helped over 500 children. Garrett had stepped back from Sullivan Enterprises to focus on their work. Immani had published a book on resilience. The twins were thriving. Kennedy still wanted to be an astronaut. Carter had a gallery show at 9 years old. They'd added a fourth stone to Immani's ring when they renewed their vows on their first anniversary. Diamond. For unbreakable. One night, watching the twins play in their backyard, the house they'd bought together, in a neighborhood they'd chosen together, Garrett pulled Immani close. Do you ever regret the lost years? She considered it. Yes. But they taught us what matters. And now we'll never take this for granted. Never, he agreed. Kennedy ran over. Daddy, come see Carter's new painting. Coming, sweetheart. As he jogged across the lawn, Immani watched him go. The man who'd destroyed her. The man who'd rebuilt himself. The man she'd chosen to love again, eyes wide open, heart cautiously hopeful. It wasn't perfect. Some days were still hard. Some wounds would always ache. But it was theirs. Built on honesty, maintained with effort, strengthened by choice. And that was enough. That was everything. If this story moved you, if you believe in second chances, if you've ever had to choose between comfort and courage, drop a comment below. Have you ever rebuilt something you thought was broken forever? Have you ever had to forgive someone who really hurt you? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you want more stories about real love, the kind that requires work and honesty and bravery, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Like this video if you believe love is about having the courage to try again and doing the work to deserve it. Thanks for watching, and remember, it's not about never failing, it's about getting back up and doing better.